So at Night Hacks, you only have about from 9 p.m. on Friday, which is tomorrow, until 9 a.m. on Sunday to create a project, which is a very limited time to create a complete and fully functional project. So what we're going to do during this workshop is kind of like lead you towards some steps for success on how to actually complete a project during this time and hopefully win a prize. So these steps are to 1, create project requirements. 2, now that you know what the project requirements are, figuring out how you're going to accomplish these requirements. And 3rd, you need to start planning and developing. So one of the key parts of being able to develop a project within about like 3 days is to kind of have a really good idea and communicate really well with your team on what you want to create. And lastly, once you start planning and developing, it's a really great idea to utilize the mentors that we're going to have at the hackathon, which we'll get into later. All right, so to begin, if you guys don't know already, when you create like a project or have a project idea, you have project requirements. So these requirements are things like your application or website or machine learning model or whatever you decide to make must have. So you really need to make sure that you define these and make them really clear during your project so you and your team don't have to go back and forth with creating the project, with creating different features. All right, so when creating your project requirements, the first step is to get an idea of what you want to do. So one of the hardest things with the hackathon is figuring out what do I want to make. So luckily, there's going to be a lot of mentors as well as as organizers like myself to kind of like help you get some inspiration or kind of figure out a good project idea. But this is definitely the first thing that you want to do before you start developing anything. Secondly, now that you have an idea, it's time to start brainstorming. So what do you want your project to do? Because keep in mind, like I said earlier, you only have from 9 a.m. on Friday to 9 p.m. on Sunday to develop a project, meaning you can probably get the basics of the idea done, but you might not be able to actually create a full-fledged idea. For example, if you wanted to create like Instagram or something like that, you might be create like a basic feed or the ability to create an account, but you wouldn't add like the stories or the explore page or anything like that during a hackathon. Lastly, like I was saying, you need to really prioritize and figure out within this time span, what can I actually do to get this project at least partially complete and running. So now I'm going to show you guys an example of what some project requirements might look like and how you can give them different priority levels to determine what you want to complete during the project. For example, for this sample project, someone is creating an Instagram remake. And so in this Instagram remake, you only have so much time to create it. So you want to ask yourself, what are the primary things in Instagram that I might want to create? So you can see on the high priority list, you have that a user can post an image. You can see that they have the ability to interact with other posts like likes, comments, shares, and also user authentication. So that means the user can create an account as well as log into their account. So if you notice in the high priority task, you have all the basic functionalities of Instagram. Like when you think of Instagram, of course, you're able to like post something as well as interact with things. This is like the backbone of your application for it to actually work. Next, we have what we might call medium priority tasks. So medium priority tasks are things like people can post multiple images in one post. So if you guys had Instagram before this feature was added, this was something that wasn't initially in the application, as well as the ability to private message other users on the application. So for example, these are things that are really nice to add to Instagram, but initially when you create something like Instagram during a hackathon, it's not a priority to have in it for it to be fully functional. Lastly, in your low priorities, the kind of things that you might want to add to the app, but it's not exactly necessary. So these things are like deleting accounts, signing into multiple accounts, archiving posts, and scheduling posts, which are things that'll be really nice features to your website or your application, but it's not really necessary for it to work. So does anyone have any questions about requirements or like adding requirements to your project? And someone said they still needed a team. So we have some team building channels in our Discord, as well as we're gonna have a team building event tomorrow at 4 p.m. Will sponsors have requirements for art projects? Yes, there will be, and those will be announced during opening ceremony, as well as after opening ceremony, they'll be added into the hacker packet, which is a Notion page that you receive a link to in the email if you're accepted. All righty.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cover how you can accomplish these project requirements with your team. Real quick, there's a question in the chat. Any rules about working on previous projects? You cannot submit a project that you submitted to a hackathon before, but if you've had an idea before that you wanted to work on, feel free to work on it for this hackathon. Yeah, so anyway, for this topic, I'm basically going to cover, I mostly want to cover how you can use agile and sprint methods within your team for a hackathon, which is extremely important because hackathons are very short and you're going to need to cover a lot of ground and get a lot of work done, especially with the people in your team. So let's go ahead and look at what entails that. Victoria. Okay, so first thing would be assigning rules within your team. The second thing would be establishing your sprints. And then the last thing would just be getting started. So let's look at how you can assign roles within your team. So basically, if you are a beginner in your hack, you have skills that you want to pursue, this is kind of your opportunity to do so. Every single hackathon is an opportunity to learn something new, or you can strengthen skills that you already have. So if you feel like you're very proficient in web development, for example, and you want to become even better with it, you can say that you want to be a web developer within your team. Or if your project's goal is to develop a game or something like that, and you want to design sprints or sprites, I think it's called, then that could be the role that's you take on in your team. So kind of view this as an opportunity to learn something new or just strengthen skills you have. And the reason why that's very important is because once you're done with this hackathon, you want a project ideally that you can put on your resume. And you want to be able to say that the role you did kind of aligns with something that you'd like to do in the future. And if you are able to, I know this is a little bit difficult, but as any team, any development team, a project manager really helps lead the aim of the project to the end. A project manager in one project is typically the person who came up with the idea, but it really could be any member in the team. And all you really have to do as a project manager is make sure everybody's doing what they should be doing, just to make sure you have an end product or an end goal at the end of the one. And one more thing, if you are in a team with beginners, which is actually a lot of people at this hackathon, I would suggest pairing up with people in the roles that you have. So sometimes they're like, we want to build a website, but everybody and nobody knows what they're doing. It's not a bad idea working on front end and two people working on back end. That way there's always somebody to rely on and bounce ideas off of, and you're always able to ask questions to the person you're working with instead of kind of figuring everything out by yourself. But if you do have more intermediate or advanced people in your team, completely fine, leave them on their own roles, but that also is very beneficial to team up a beginner with an intermediate person or a beginner with an advanced person, things like that. But always go into a hackathon saying, what role do I want? And what do I want to get the most out of? Do you want to learn something new, or do you just want to strengthen your skills? It can always be one of the two. Next slide. Okay, and this I think is the most important part of a hackathon. A lot of people don't even know what sprints are, so let me give a quick recap. So basically a sprint is a very quick period of time where you accomplish a certain goal with your team. These are very commonly used in the tech industry, which is why we kind of pressure it a little bit on hackathons, just because it kind of gets you to dip your toes into what it really means to be a sprint. Also actually follow bi-weekly sprints for every single development teams and night hacks, and we've been doing that. It's literally how all of our dev teams are able to accomplish all of the work that they've been able to accomplish over these past 10 months. But for the first point, hackathons are very brief. Ours is literally 36 hours, which is not a lot of time. It's from Friday to Sunday. That is not a lot of time to get a lot of work done. If you want to get a lot of work done, we highly recommend you establish sprints. And this allows you to optimize your time and make manageable sprints for your team to follow. So for you guys who don't even know how you would potentially have a sprint that could relate to your hackathon project, I actually made a little graphic for it on the next slide. Okay, so this is an example of something that you could follow for day one, which actually allows you to get started coding on the literal first day of the hackathon. Since hacking starts at 9 p.m., I have your first sprint, quote unquote, starting at 9 p.m. For every single sprint, you want to dedicate what your goal is of that sprint. You want to make sure at the end of the sprint, what did we accomplish? We need this certain goal that we've accomplished. So here for the very first sprint, for example, if you have your team and you guys don't know what your project is maybe, or you do have a general idea, this is your opportunity to really like hone it down and define exactly what it is. So for this first sprint, the goal could be literally to define your project and to determine the roles of the people within your team. If this looks simple to you, it's because it is. Like you can literally spend 1 hour determining this whole thing and you're already ahead of the curve than other people would be because they didn't think to set the time aside to do these things, which are very important, very helpful. Things that you can also do throughout each of these sprints is attend the workshops that we have. A lot of our workshops are relating to projects that people will end up developing, web dev projects, front end, back end, game dev projects, all of that sort of stuff. And you can also take the time to attend sponsor booths since we'll be having the career fair, but we'll also be having booths throughout the entirety of the hackathon. So I would say make it a goal within your team to determine what you want to do for your project and who's doing what. And then with the time that you have left over in that sprint, take time to go to workshops and do all these other stuff. For the second part of your sprint, which is, it should say 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., but that's okay. We'll pretend that doesn't exist. But for 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., you want that goal maybe to be creating mockups, and you want to set up your workspace. This means setting up your repository, all of this stuff. The hackathon is entirely virtual. So the booths are all on Hopin, which is where all of our workshops and sponsor booths and career fair would be held on. So make sure to check your email to check into Hopin because it is required. And of course, with that goal, you can still divide and conquer, attend more workshops, attend sponsor booths, all of this stuff. And then for your third sprint, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m., the day is practically done. And this is the goal of this sprint would ideally be to start developing and to ask for help as you go. And we're going to get into this a little bit later, but asking for help means reaching out to your friends, reaching out to Google, reaching out to mentors. And we have a lot of those at this hackathon. So yeah, this is kind of just a brief example of what a sprint could look like. At the end of each one of these sprints, you're going to meet up with your team once more and discuss what you guys went over. Called a stand-up, which is where you go over what you've done and what you're going to do next. So ideally, after each of these sprints, you guys would have separately accomplished your goals. If a sprint requires being in a meeting, like sprint 1 does, it requires in a meeting, talking to your teammates, deciding your roles, projects. You can, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Then you can immediately just jump into sprint 2. And all of that stuff. So I hope this was a little bit clearer, and this is something that you can emulate for day 2, and you can make your goals more specific or add even more goals. Anything that you see fit to accomplish the end product on Sunday, you can go ahead and plan your sprints accordingly, and you'll be surprised at how much work you get done. Next slide. Okay, and then for the last part of accomplishing your project requirements is actually getting so Victoria is going to delve much more into that, but now that you know exactly what you want to accomplish and the pattern and order in which you're going to accomplish it, you just need to put the tools together and actually get the project.
So one of the main things that you need to do for step 3 is to start planning and developing your application. All right, so pretty much to do this, you do this after you have all your project requirements, because something that you want to do at this step is to kind of like prepare some diagrams, prototype, and also create a repository for version control. So if you guys don't know what version control is or haven't used GitHub before, I suggest maybe going to our intro to GitHub workshop, just going to happen during the hackathon on Saturday, and to maybe like learn about GitHub, because it helps so much when you're trying to like work with other people, because it prevents you from like overriding with people, and also you can work on like one project together. Also, while you're creating these diagrams or prototypes, you're pretty much like finalizing how like your application is going to work, because when you're working with a lot of people, you're going to be working with them, but you also want to be able to separate tasks. So like as Aileen said earlier, you want to be able to have maybe one person or a couple people focusing on front end, and maybe a couple people working on back end. But it's like, how do they know what to do without having to talk to each other every single minute? And that's what I'm going to get into next. So there we go. All right, so one of these things that can allow you to like separate your tasks and work separately and then bring like all your code together is an entity relationship diagram, which is also called an ERD for short. So with ERD, you're pretty much able to kind of like add the properties to different like elements that might be in a database. So everyone has a good idea of what might go with this. So for example, for me, since I primarily go on the front end, say I needed to display information for a product, I can look at the ERD and be like, oh, this product, when I need to display it, it's going to have its project name. They're going to be able to access like their project ID and anything like that. And I'll get to that question in just 1 second. To continue, there's also use case diagrams. So use case diagrams can pretty much show the expected behavior and actions a user might take. So this is really good, especially when you're making like a really big web application. So this allows the front end to maybe kind of like start brainstorming, oh, what kind of pages do I need to make? Do I need to make like a page where the user needs to like for example, if it's like Amazon or something, you need to create a page where a person can go check out. Do I need to make a page where a person can go sign in, where they can look at products, stuff like that. And then this also lets the backend know, oh, I need to make an API for the user to log in or to purchase an item or to view all items or anything like that, or any filters that or queries that your database needs to have. Lastly, we have prototyping. So for prototyping, I highly suggest that you look into Figma. I use that all the time myself. But prototyping is really well for like UI design. So since it is a hackathon, you don't have a long time to create a prototype. I suggest that you look into lo-fi prototyping because it's kind of like you kind of create the skeleton of what you want your application to look like, and you can maybe add some more of like the more design aspects to it as you start coding it. Or you can do something like this picture right here, which is more so high fidelity. And with that, you can kind of like show exactly what the application is going to look like, the colors, the UI, and everything like that. So does anyone have any questions on how these diagrams might help you or how to use them? All right, so the last thing is version control. I think the slide didn't get updated, unfortunately, but pretty much with version control, you're going to use something like GitHub. And with GitHub, you're pretty much going to just create a repository. And this is where you and the rest of your team can collaborate and push code. So something that I suggest is that you learn how to create branches as well as pull requests, because you don't want to overwrite your code, and you also don't want to create a whole bunch of merge conflicts, and using those two things can help prevent that. All right.
Victoria, there's a question. Someone's asking what's a good resource to make an ERD with?
I can't think of a specific one right now, but I do know there are some websites to do it online. So I suggest look into those.
Yeah, honestly, if you just Google ERD diagrams, you'll find a bunch of websites that basically allow you to make them. But on to the last step, utilize your mentors. This is literally just going to be me telling you guys to use help. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, Victoria. Okay, so I want to say this because I think a lot of people do not want to accept this, especially a lot of CS people. But if you look at it, realistically, everything that we code is built off of somebody else's code. And coding is honestly one of the most collaborative things in the world. Yeah, I'm calling you guys out, Ethan. Like literally everything that we do is based off of something else somebody did, and we're just bettering it, or we're just making it cooler or making it interesting. You're just putting a spin on it. But literally code is the most collaborative thing in the world. And so when you're developing something new, it is okay to not know what you're doing. And it is even more okay to go to Google and look up the errors that you're having, or look up the problems that you're having, look up questions. Like when people, okay, this is from like the hackathons that I've been in before. When people get stumped, like installing things, they go to mentors, and it's like, if you had just Googled this, you would have figured it out like within 2 seconds. But now the mentor's like, wait, what's wrong? Like, what are you running? Like, what's your PC? Like all of this stuff. When really, like, especially at the very beginning, when you're just getting started, so much of your problems are Googleable and you can find the answer, and Stack Overflow exists for a reason. And I know you guys use it in your classes. So like, don't be shy. Like you can use it for this hackathon too, and you're not going to get in trouble. Like it's okay to Google issues and problems and see what people are talking about and saying. And honestly, it just betters your end goal because you're just taking everybody else and you're making what you need and you're adding on top of it. But I do want to say, if you have problems that are very specific to your project, you can definitely ask mentors. That's why I think every hackathon has mentors, but ours definitely does. We have a lot of mentors from companies themselves. We have mentors from itself, and we have dedicated channels for our mentors as well for this hackathon. So we have one that's just very vague. If you genuinely have no idea what field your question falls under, it's get any help. So you can just post your question in there. If you know your question is front-end related, we have get front-end help. Back-end related, get related, we have get mobile help, and we have machine learning and AI help as well. So if you're working on a project that falls under any of these and you know exactly what topic you need to ask a question for, but you don't know how to solve it, you can post it in any of these channels. And one of our mentors will get back to you, hoping to help you. But that's the end goal. That's literally, do not be afraid to ask for help, especially if you are a beginner or if your team is full of beginners. It's never a bad idea to ask mentors for help. And something that I actually do is I mentor for way more hackathons than I take part in, just because I really like helping beginners and helping people get their foot, all of that stuff. Mentors can literally help you from the beginning step. So if you need help brainstorming with ideation or UI UX, any of this stuff, mentors can help you with those very first steps. If you need help submitting to dev posts, like, finishing your video, like ideas on pitching, literally the final demonstration stuff, our mentors can help you on that as well. So literally our mentors help you from the beginning to the end of the hackathon if you ever need any problems or have any questions. But do not be afraid to Google things, and do not be afraid and break something. You may surprise yourself on how well you actually know what you're doing. But yeah, don't shy away from asking for help. And if you have to do it yourself, that's okay. But if you don't want to, you have people here at this hackathon who are honestly willing to help you every step of the way. So yeah, that's kind of all I want to cover in this one. Does anyone have any questions regarding mentors? Is there going to be live pitching to judges? No, actually what you're going to do is you're going to end up submitting your projects on DevPost, which is a platform where most hackathons use, most hackathons use to upload like the hackers' presentations and stuff like that. And you're basically going to upload a video, which is a little demo of the project that you worked on. And judges behind the scenes will be watching these videos, kind of scoring them, rating them. And then we're going to have the closing ceremony where we announce who won what prizes and all of that stuff. And some of our mentors are judges as well. So, that is a good plus. But yeah, I think that's it. Any questions?
Yeah. So for the prizes, we're not going to announce any of the prizes until opening ceremony, and then it's also going to be posted in the hacker packet once we do so.
Any more questions? When it comes to competitions, are there different brackets for different skill levels? Yeah, I think we have prizes dedicated to beginners, and then we have prizes dedicated to intermediate advanced. So if you are a beginner team, that's okay. You're still eligible for a prize, and you can still get a really cool prize.
Are we allowed to use any online libraries? Yes. Yes, you can.
Of course you can. You can use everything.
If you want to come up with a project idea, that is a good idea, but you can't start. Am I lagging? Is that me?
No, you're not lagging for me.
Oh, okay. It was like something's breaking up for me. I don't know what. But pretty much you can just don't start like coding or like making a prototype for it or anything.
Yeah, try to like keep everything relating to hacking to 9 p.m. just to make it fair, starting starting line for everybody in the hackathon. But feel free to think of a cool idea you can really make anything you want. So be creative.
What's the best idea I've seen on the previous hackathon?
Wait, that's such a good question.
It is.
And the worst, I'm not going to do that. Oh, can we ask mentors if our idea is feasible after pitching? Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's okay. Okay. We will get to the best idea question soon, but to answer this question, at least me, we definitely love when people are like, we have this idea, what do you think? Because it's very helpful for all the knowledge that we have as mentors being in previous hackathons. We know things that you could do to better your project, or we know things that you're saying that may hinder your performance on your project. So if you come to us and you're like, hey, is this idea feasible? We're here to be like, yes, it's very feasible, or no, you should try looking into this and this. And we're here to help you, decide, is this a good idea? New things that you should add into it. Like, it's definitely a great idea to ask mentors if your idea is feasible, for sure.
There are not requirements for what you can build. You want to just do whatever you want to do. I'm down with that.
You can do anything, any website, any mobile app, any AI machine, blah, blah, blah. I really don't know the best. Do you have it, Victoria? I don't know the best.
I honestly don't know. Can you guys repeat what prototype website you use? Oh, it's Figma. Yeah, I use Figma a lot.
I use Figma as well. Some people actually really like Adobe XD, I think it's called, but I really like Figma. And I also, subtle plug, but I will be doing a UI UX design workshop on using Figma for the hackathon. So if you don't know how to use it at all, it's going to be a fully interactive session. So you can do it with me and you can learn all of it from the bare bones, and you'll know how to make beautiful prototypes for your applications.
It's tomorrow, I believe.
But I think it's 12 a.m. on Friday, or 12 a.m. on Saturday then.
Also, if you guys want to see the event schedule, go to the Hopin link that you registered on, and it'll take you to the registration page. Just like scroll down, and it'll show you the schedule.
Yeah, make sure you do that for sure. But if you aren't on there yet, then you could just go to our site and see the schedule. But definitely, please make sure you check into Hopin. You have to in order to participate with our hackathon. And all of the information is there. I think some workshops do overlap. We've got a couple that overlap, but they are intentionally types of workshops that overlap. So for example, in the first hour, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., there's a JavaScript workshop and a Python workshop happening at the same exact time. That's intentionally overlapping just because people who are interested in Python would probably go to the Python one and not the JavaScript one, and same for vice versa. So some of them do overlap, but in that case, if project where you're using both Python and JavaScript, for example, then one of your teammates can go to one while you go to the other, or two of you can go to one while other, things like that. So some of them are overlapping. I'm not sure about, I think they're all recorded, right, Victoria? Or are we not recording them?
The workshops, yeah, they're all gonna be recorded.
Okay, so all of them will be recorded. Yeah, 4 people per team.
Yeah, there is going to be a team building workshop that you guys can attend. So it's actually not a workshop, really. It's going to be something on Discord, and it's going to be from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock tomorrow. And it is going to be before the opening ceremony, because the opening ceremony is at 5.
Yeah. So make sure to go to team building. There's going to be a lot of great ideas being thrown around, and it's really structured so that you can actually leave with a team. You can leave team building ceremony with a team and go into ceremony and learn about all the prizes and all of our sponsors and all that stuff. And then, yeah, and then okay, we should end the meeting, right? There's no worse project. I don't know what to say. At least I can't think of anything. And honestly, I can't even think of a best hackathon project. Okay, this may be a little bit biased because I love front end, but my favorite hackathon projects are always websites. I really love seeing websites. So yeah, in my mind, the best projects are websites.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in case y'all couldn't tell already, both of us are very primarily web developer people. Swag, are we going to ship international? Yeah, we can ship to Canada.
Yeah, you'll get your swag for sure. Speaking of swag, do y'all have any like ideas for swag you want? Maybe like beanies or water bottles, something like that. Maybe lanyards. We've got a couple beanies. Okay. A massive. We've been thinking about making a night hack stuck for sure. Water bottles, hoodies. Yeah, we've been thinking of hoodies, like night hacks on the front, or it should be on the back. Oh, I almost spoiled something about swag. Sorry.
Oh, Aileen, shaking my head. You can't be telling secrets. Oh my God.
For sure, that's true. Hoodies. Okay, people love the hoodies. Okay, give us insider info. There's only like 57 people in this. I'm not gonna do it though.
Oh my God, Aileen.
No, I won't.
Meeting gone.
It's okay. Any more questions, guys, about the hackathon? Fanny packs? No, sorry. And you can leave actually for saying that.
Aileen, that's so mean.
Let's see. I also wanted to say, oh yeah, I wanted to say like, make sure I think it's very beneficial when hackers check out the workshop ahead of time, because that way you can kind of plan what workshops you want to go to. Maybe and I know you guys are going to do sprints because you guys know how to do a successful hackathon. So maybe in your first sprint, you guys can determine like, okay, this is our project. These are kind of the workshops we're interested in. Just so you guys can kind of know like when some of your members are going to be AWOL, like watching workshops, and kind of carve out that time for you guys to do exactly that. So you're not spending the whole entire time just like spam working and not attending any workshops. You do want to incorporate into your schedule. So it could be good to like tell one another, okay, these are the ones that we should go to, or this is something I'm interested in, so I think I'm going to go to this one, just so you kind of know each other's schedule for the next couple of days. That could be very helpful for y'all.
And something that you can add on to what Aileen just said is, fun fact, in Hopin, you can add different workshops and events to your agenda. So you can go through, like when the event opens up and just add everything to your agenda, and then you guys can kind of compare and figure out and add that to your sprint. Was someone asking a question? Or did I just hear something from my laptop?
I think it was your laptop.
Okay, I think my laptop's like officially breaking. Yeah, you can set up an agenda and hop in. You just, when the event's open, you can just like go through the schedule, which is in the reception, and then you can just like click on add to my agenda. Once you do that, you can click on my agenda and it'll be like, oh, you want to do this. Like I just added team building, so I'm looking at it right now, and it'll just show everything in chronological order and by date.
Yeah, Hopin's very cool. Make sure to check in. I'm gonna keep saying, but make sure to check in. Tell your friends.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions about checking in or Hopin, just let me know. I know some hackathons have. Oh no.
That is so mean. We don't have that. We have that one. The worst. Useless, terrible, savage, useless. Honestly, you guys think your ideas are useless, but it could end up making a really cool prize. You never know. And speaking of random prizes, actually, we do have a series of mini events all throughout the hackathon. Like I think we have a couple on Saturday, and then we have most of them on Saturday, and then we have one of them on Sunday. But a few of them actually have prizes with them, so you can kind of win a prize for fun.
Yeah. And if you guys are like new to hackathons, oh wait, how do the mini events work? You have to sign up.
No, you just show up. They're actually, I think they're all on Discord, right?
There you are, but they're also on the schedule of what they are. I'm looking through it right now. I know we have a fetch one. Like if you guys know what that is, like MIT fetch. I know there's a Among Us event on Sunday. You have a chess tournament. MLH is going to do Bob Ross painting and a CTF. Yeah, Among Us. And let's see. I think there's another one. It's like way deep down this.
Yeah, there's Scratch. We're also doing this Scratch game as well. There's also a binary search contest.
Oh, that was the wrong word. Yeah, it's Scratch.
Mm-hmm. And the binary search.
Oh yeah, that's what the last one was.
Yeah. And hackathons are open to every major, just to dispel whatever Ethan's putting in the chat right now. Everybody participate, you know. And actually, some teams perform very, very well when they have like design majors or digital media majors, things like that, when they've got them on their teams, because you guys end up with the prettiest prototypes and the nicest designs and stuff. Oh, and that's another thing. Some people, especially beginners, and this is not to deter you guys, but sometimes it gets very overwhelming and you don't end up with working code like as your final project. And that's okay, especially if you have a working prototype or a beautiful design of your project. These are things that you can show in your demo video, and you can talk about what you hope to do with these designs, and you can kind of talk about your aspirations for the code if you weren't able to get to it. So some people kind of like have these designs and start working on code, and then they can't finish their code and they just give up and don't even do the demo. You literally, if you can submit a prototype, you can submit a prize and you can win one. So yeah, all that really matters in hackathons is the idea behind what you're doing, not that you developed a beautiful project and it's working and it's amazing. Like that's just a plus. But what really, really matters is the core of your idea and what you want to do. That's what we really care about, and what your impact of the idea would be, even if it's really funny. Sometimes really funny, ridiculous projects win prizes all the time. But yeah, don't be scared if it's like Saturday night and you guys are like, wow, we have nothing. Just look back on your designs and go back to the idea that made you start the project anyway. That is literally enough to submit a project, and you never know if you win. You'll never know.
And to add on to what Aileen was saying, like personally, like as a lead hackathon organizer, when I was putting those events together, I really wanted to make sure there was going to be a lot of like beginner friendly opportunities, which is why we are allowing people to submit a prototype to be considered for prizes. Because I myself, when it came to college, I did not know how to do any of this. So like I didn't do any hackathons or anything. And really the hardest part is just getting started. So I really hope out of this experience, people who are new to this can kind of just like learn how to code and maybe like learn how to start off a project. And after attending workshops, maybe starting off with a prototype, you guys can then go after the hackathon, maybe like try to fully develop the project. And will the workshops be recorded and accessible somewhere? Yes.
Yeah, of course, Ethan. We're here to help.
Yes.
Any more questions y'all got? Anything else you're curious about?
And also, if anyone doesn't want to ask publicly, feel free to PM either of us, and we can try to answer them there. Can we message you guys on Discord? The mentors. Yeah, there's actually a channel for you guys to communicate with mentors.
Yeah, there's whole dedicated channels. The mentors will constantly be in those channels throughout the entirety of the hackathon, so they'll always be reading messages in there.
And you can submit code that isn't design friendly. I think Aileen and I were just referring to websites a lot because that's literally just what we do a lot. But yeah, if you want to create something in Python, go off, do it. I believe in you.
Yeah, or hardware, like go crazy, you know, anything you want. As long as you can show it in a demo video and you can explain it in a demo video, that's all. Awesome, we'll see you there, William. All right, 15 more minutes. Any more questions y'all got? How many people here have teams? I'm just curious.
Oh my God, I could do a poll. Wait.
Yeah, okay, Conroy Joyce. Okay, not yet, that's okay. You're gonna get one for sure. Yeah, do a poll. Jay,
I don't think I have that ability.
Possibly, kinda. Yeah, that was me for my hackathon. I was like, do I have a team? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we can make a poll. It's so hard to make polls in here.
I honestly don't think I have access to. If Harold is still here. Oh, if Harold's still here. I forgot there's an outside. You can do it.
I am here, but I am not home. Are you not the host, Victoria? There should be a button for polls if you're the host of the call.
I'm not. I don't know why I have access to open it. I really don't.
No clue.
It's okay though. But hey, you guys seeing these other people who don't have a team and you don't have a team, talk to them. How are hackathons during an internship? I can't read. Oh my God. Okay. How are hackathons doing an internship different from the ones that are hosted by a university? I think it just varies. Like at my job, when we did the hackathon, it's like a workshop, so like spread out like throughout like a week or two, and then the hackathon was of course just like 3 days. And also for judging was over a course of like 2 weeks. So since it was a corporate hackathon, for the first round, it was like we were just like presenting to like team leads and like stuff like that. And then for the second round, we presented to VPs and stuff like that. And then because since we went to the last round and we presented to the CEO and the CTO of the company, we pretty much had to connect with the VP who would help us with her presentation so we would know how to do a proper corporate presentation. So I would say from that hackathon, I actually didn't code anything. It was more so like knowing how to like clearly communicate a good idea, kind of like look into like statistics. It was like more of like a business proposal and like then like coding wise, which is why prototyping is really important because I built that entire prototype on Figma. I try to make it look exactly like that company's prototype or their current application as well.
Yeah, that's actually a great point because I did the same exact thing. For my, like literally, mine was just for my internship over the summer for their hackathon. Mine was just a prototype. Like that was literally it. We didn't code anything. We just had a really beautiful video and a really strong idea behind it, and that's what we promoted, and that's what we ended up winning. And yeah, I would say like they're looking. Okay, yeah, companies are definitely like, when a company hosts an internal hackathon, they're definitely trying to see what things that they can incorporate into their project, especially when the hackathon is catered to the interns that are literally there. They want those new, fresh ideas from their interns. But yeah, I would say it's different in that way. Like you're surrounded by people who are working every day, but hackathons that are hosted by universities, it's like everybody's doing the same exact thing. I don't know. It's a little more laid back, I think. Any more questions? Let's see.
Does anyone have any questions? Like, especially you haven't been to hackathon before, like how things are going to run, like stuff like that. Ooh, nice. First hackathon. So I would say my main tip is like I think that's exactly what I was gonna say. Get some.
Oh my God, that's so
a lot of people
true.
are like, oh my God, I gotta rush do my project. I can't sleep. You can do it. I promise. I've slept during hackathons and have gotten the entire project done. It's possible. Make sure you sleep. Make sure you eat. Make sure you drink water because that's important.
Yeah.
It can get done. If it can't get done, it's okay. So make sure you just take care of yourself.
Yeah, completely agreed with that. Please don't be a normal person. Hackathon is happening. Like you don't have to put everything on hold. Definitely fall asleep. But another tip I would think of, and I guess this is kind of like against our whole thing, but I would actually say this for anybody, even if it's not your first hackathon, but like don't make your aim winning a prize. Like I would say don't make that the goal of the hackathon. What you really want to do. Okay, so here's the thing. Like hack beneficial because it allows you to put something on your resume that you didn't do for an assignment or class. So already it's categorized as a personal project, which is something that tech recruiters look for all of the time. So you want to make sure that the project that you put on your resume is something that you enjoy doing. And it's something that a recruiter would look at and they'd be like, oh, that's really cool because we actually have a team here who does this sort of stuff. You intern for them. Like that's what you want to keep in mind. You want to have a project on your resume that kind of indicates things you want to get into for the future, or just like shows you're in something. Like always, that's what really matters more than the prize, because you can always put a hackathon project on your resume even if you don't win. So I would say don't make the goal getting a prize. Really make the goal something that you make something you care about. Like join a team that's doing something that you think is really cool and you know you'll have a lot of fun doing, not under the guise that I'm going to get this project. Because really, if you have a great idea and you guys demo it really nicely, you're probably going to get a prize anyway. Like it's not that hard to get a prize for a hackathon, but don't make it your end purpose and goal. Think about your resume and your future and the internships you're going to be applying to in the future. Think of that instead of the prizes, for sure. If you guys need project, yeah, literally, if you have no personal projects on your resume, go to hackathons. And our hackathon tomorrow is a perfect like space for exactly that. And you can literally, Victoria's spitting right now, just talk at the career fair, and like there's sponsor booths throughout the entire hackathon. Like you talk to recruiters the entire time. And they know that you're there to make a project. Like that's the fun part. And that's what they really care about. People with ambition who do something and go out of their way to do it.
Possible,
I think
if they want to. It's an option. I don't know if they're going to do it or if they want to do a general thing. It's more so up to them. And how they want to do their presentation at the expo.
But something that does happen pretty often, and I don't want to like say that all of our company sponsors are going to do this, but typically they do give, like the recruiters that are there give information, like they're like a specific email that you can contact them at, or a specific link that you can apply to their internships for, things like that. So that could kind of your one route into like having one-on-one connections with them. Sometimes they share their LinkedIns, things like that, and they just tell you, say you're from Night Hacks. So there's more avenues to like have one-on-one time with a recruiter than if you were just passing by them on the street. Having a dedicated sponsor fair with them is like the way to go. And I also want to mention that sometimes sponsor booths are empty. Like people are working, they're not like in the sponsor booths. There is a chance you could be one of two people in that room with that recruiter, and that is one-on-one time for sure.
Ooh, also they are gonna have office hours, to keep an eye out on those, and that's also maybe like help you get some time with them with a lot less people around. And another thing I was gonna say is we're going to have some sponsors having professional development workshops. I know Microsoft, I can think off the top of my head, is doing a interview tips and tricks workshop, and there's also I believe Mantech is having some office hours on like working on your resume and building your social media presence. So definitely keep an eye out on professional development workshops. We're also going to be doing a technical tech industry AMA. So if you guys have any questions about how some of us have gotten internships or full-time jobs, feel free to come to that and ask us. Yeah, Aileen did go off on the front end. She really did.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Thank you. And that actually, subtle plug, but so our development teams, we have 3 of them, front end, back end, and mobile. And we have these teams for the entirety of spring and fall semesters. And after fall, after our hackathon, our development team positions expire because we need new development team members for next year. So if this is actually something you're interested in, being a part of a club and being a dev member on these clubs, our positions are going to be opening up for all 3 of our teams for the next entire year. And you could potentially be on the team to develop the club's website and the club's hackathon website, which is nighthacks.org. If you want to check out the club site, it's club.nighthacks.org. But I led my front end team to develop both of those. Yeah. And we do like beginners as well. We do like half of our teams are like beginners. Like we intentionally have beginners in our teams because we want you guys to learn something as well. And it's much longer than a hackathon is. Like it's 10 months. I've been working with my team since January of this year. So yeah.
Oh, and you guys work on the club site too.
Yeah, we literally in spring semester, we redid the entire club site. And then since then we've been working on the hackathon website, which is what you guys all use to register. Yeah. I had it.
Yeah, especially with hackathons, it's really good to kind of explore and figure out like what your thing is. Like some people be like, oh, I'm a front end person now. Like we have front end workshops, we have back end workshops. We also have like a game design workshop, so you can really kind of just like dabble in anything, kind of figure it out, which is really good, especially like an underclassman and trying to figure out electives and stuff. You can kind of get a quick idea.
Exactly. That's a great point for sure. A lot of people are like, especially if they're like freshmen and sophomores, they're like, I really don't know what I want to do. Like the only way that you could figure out what you really enjoy doing is try everything. And not literally try everything, but go to workshops that cover things that you wouldn't have thought of. And you may, wow, I really, really love this thing, or wow, I hate it. That is okay. At least now you have an even more clear idea of your likes and dislikes. That will kind of help you realize the job title that you want to fall under, or the at least the area that you're interested in. The animated fish.
So hacking stops at 9 a.m. on Sunday.
Mhm.
And it begins at 9 p.m. on Friday.
Can I add something real quick?
Mhm.
So kind of extending off of what Aileen was saying about, trying to figure out what you want to do, trying everything. We also have other resources as an organization throughout the semester to help you with that. For example, we have our mentorship and projects programs that in our mentorship, you can actually be paired with someone for the entire semester. And this can be kind of your resource or someone you can always come to ask questions, as well as for projects, you can actually be put on a projects team. So you see how the hackathon's this whole weekend? Our projects program is basically a hackathon, except it's the entire semester. So you're really able to go into like actual development and actually like really expand on an idea and see it through to the end, and working with a lot of people and getting some help from our dev team as well as our projects directors. Yes, so the mentorship program, so it opens up at the beginning of every semester, so long as you are a dues paying member. So this is specifically for UCF students. So this is if you're a UCF student, we have our organization that meets every week or has our programs that run throughout the semester. So yes, mentorship and projects will open at the beginning of next semester. You do need to be a dues paying member, but dues are only $10, and it's for the entire academic year. And you get a shirt, and you're able to run for a leadership position in the organization as well.
Mhm. Pretty cool. And we do these every semester. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people from a bunch of different universities that are in a hackathon this year. It's actually a lot of fun. A lot of people across the country and out of the country have decided to participate. So yeah, we have a great pool of people. I hope you can find some FIU students. I don't know. All right. I mean, I think we've reached our time. It's 7 now. Well, it's 7 and 40 seconds. But yeah, if you guys have more questions, feel free to throw it in Ask Organizers in Discord, or can DM us. There we go, you student. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I hope every single one of you registered on Hopin and checked in, because tomorrow's the big day. So yeah.
Don't want to be late. Want to be able to see the schedule. Want to get swag, because you got to check in to get swag. So if you don't check in to hop in, you're not getting like a shirt and stuff. Is it cold in Orlando? To me, it's not, but I'm not from Florida, so I don't get cold until it's like 30 degrees. So
To me, it's cold. To me, I'm shivering when I go outside and everybody's wearing shorts and t-shirts. So it's really up to you.
Yeah. I don't know. This is perfect weather to
Mm.
me. I love hot weather though.
Mm-mm.
You would not survive up north. You would not.
I would die. But literally, the way that I would drive is like in snow. It's a joke. I like cold weather. And I respect you for that. I really do. Because that can't be me.
Oh my god! Back home, like the first snow, people would just like run out in it in like swimsuits.
What?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And like, were they barefoot? They were barefoot too?
Yeah, they would just.
I'm good, girl. I'm good.
But
Also, you guys don't have to stay. I feel bad. Like, you guys don't have to stay if you don't want to. We're literally just probably going to keep talking for 30 minutes. So it's okay. Oh, and there's also a Google Cloud workshop going on right now, right?
yeah, yeah. Let me see. They put the information for it in general in the Discord. So
yeah.
Oh, wait. Let me pin it.
Oh, and I'm gonna paste it in this chat. Okay, so we do have Okay, this is minor spoiler for the hackathon, but there's only like 20 people in here.
What are you No, what are you spoiling, Aileen? PM it. No, PM it before you say it. Why are you laughing?
Okay, I'm gonna PM right now. Hold on. Okay, can I say this?
See, but then Aileen makes a mistake and sends it to everybody.
Yeah, I just
no, she can say that. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is Google Cloud is actually, they're one of our prize tracks. So they are going to be, I think they have a first place and second place prize for using Google Cloud in your hackathon workshop. So I think it's called best use of Google Cloud or something, but that's one of the prize tracks. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and join that link, because it looks like they're doing like a live Google Cloud hands-on workshop. So that'd be kind of cool to learn, what could you do with Google Cloud? How could it be incorporated into your project? And that's a literal prize category. So your project could be up for that. Actually, I have a question, Victoria. Can people's prizes be like, do they have to select the prize?
Yeah.
Now, it's happening right now, like at 7. Like they just sent it in the general chat in Discord.
I can bring it down, or I can just like respond to it. Let me just not ping them.
Yeah. But can people's projects be considered for every track, or do they say, I want it to be considered for this track? And then that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, it's when you're on DevPost, you'll see, oh, I want to be submitted for this, this, and this.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And if you did make a project use Google Cloud, then you could say, consider my project for best use of Google Cloud.
Also, if you guys are not familiar with DevPost, or if it's your first hackathon, do not worry, because around, I think, 8 o'clock on Sunday before posts are due.
No, Saturday, 8 o'clock on, oh wait, 8 o'clock a.m. on Sunday?
Yes, we're going to show how to do it. Yeah. And it's also a sample in the hacker packet, like how your submission should look. It's for a different hackathon, but it gives you the idea, pretty much. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Lots of fun things. Pretty excited.
What is happening tomorrow? It's a Google Cloud workshop. Specifically. Oh my gosh, my country accent's coming back today. It's they're doing a workshop on, I believe, using Google Cloud for AI machine learning.
Oh, that's what they're doing today?
Yes.
AI machine learning.
Mm-hmm. And Google Cloud has like additional stuff besides AI machine learning too. I do know. Using it, you can host a website with Firebase. It's happening right now. You can also use Firebase for authentication and have a database, all that.
For mobile apps and stuff like that, Firebase is used a lot for React Native apps.
Oh yeah. Do you guys have any questions about like what technologies to use? We can maybe also like help with that.
Yeah, maybe we can help out with that.
Ooh, I love React. For web, I've never made a web game before though.
Yeah, I've never made a web game before either, but I also love React. The club website and the hackathon website were both made with React.js. But web game, Is that what people use it for? Do you know, Victoria?
I don't know. I haven't made a web game before. Oh, actually, but you know what? I think in Poos right now, people are making games, and we have to do more in Stack. So I assume they're using React for that. I guess that is a viable option.
Oh wait, you can definitely make games with React.js. Look at this.
Let me see. Oh wait, I'm sharing my screen.
Oh yeah, you can stop sharing, by the way. But yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, okay, then I would say yes. It looks like there's a lot of games that you can make with React.js. I've never done this before. Wait, that's such a sick idea. You're gonna do a web game?
Is this something that I'm gonna do? Like, I kind of want to do this now.
No, literally, I'm like, okay, what if I make a web game? Can I make the web game? for the hackathon.
Ooh, someone created a static gaming website using React and Tailwind.
Okay, also subtle plug one more time. I'm doing a workshop it's going to be later on Saturday, but I'm going to be doing a workshop that's web design in React.js, and it's specifically going to be using Tailwind CSS. We're literally Tailwind, like I can't describe to you. There's honestly no people that are in Night Hacks that are more Tailwind CSS stands than we are, but we love Tailwind CSS. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a CSS library, and it allows you to rapidly develop responsive applications. And that's what our entire hackathon website is, which is why it's very responsible on mobile and desktop use. And it's a little bit more advanced. So this workshop is for people who have some understanding of CSS, some understanding of React and stuff like that. But if you don't worry, because my intro web development earlier on Friday is for people who know nothing. So don't worry. But React.js and Tailwind CSS, if you understand JavaScript and you understand CSS, use Tailwind CSS. Like, it's so beneficial. It's so beautiful. And it really helps you just quickly develop a responsive application. So